The chair of the Federal Communications Commission, Jessica Rosenworcel, has announced that the agency is going to begin proceedings at their open meeting October 19th of this year, about 3 weeks from now, to restore net neutrality. On the line with us is Ishan Mehta, the Director of Media and Democracy at commoncause.org. The Twitter handle, of course, is Common Cause as well. Ishan, welcome to the program. Tell us, if you could, what exactly net neutrality is and how different the internet was when it was operating under terms of net neutrality, or would be operating under terms of net neutrality, versus the way it's operating right now.
Yeah, Tom, thanks so much for having me. So very simply, net neutrality or network neutrality means that ISPs, internet service providers like Comcast and Charter, aren't allowed to throttle, block, or prioritize internet to your home. So they can't have Netflix come to you at a slower speed than their own streaming service. And I think it's a tenet of how the internet was designed that we should have all data be treated equally. And that proposal was codified in 2015. We had net neutrality regulations in place for 3 years before the Trump FCC overturned it. And since then, we've seen instances where not only have the ISPs, slowed down certain services or prioritized others, they've also throttled public safety responses. So in Santa Clara, during the California fires a couple of years ago, the response vehicle of one of the firefighters, their connectivity was throttled by Verizon. And the FCC had no authority to intervene because they had overturned these regulations.
Right.
So, while it is a consumer protection issue, it very much is a public safety issue as well.
That's a fascinating perspective. Isn't there a privacy aspect to this too? My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, I may well be, was that under net neutrality rules, under Title II, basically the internet is regulated somewhat like your phone calls. That is to say, your telephone provider can't listen in on your phone calls. You have some assurance of privacy. And that when net neutrality got blown up, the internet service providers basically were able to monitor literally every communication we make over the internet and track it and record it and all that kind of stuff. With net neutrality, that ability of them to do that would go away. Or am I missing something?
No, you're absolutely right. Privacy is very much a key tenet of Title II regulations, which is under the umbrella net neutrality falls in. And, when this reclassification was done, the FCC also ceded authority on privacy. So it allowed ISPs to access sort of every website you visit, every search you do, what times of the day you use the internet, what devices you use it from. So
and to sell that information, right?
Absolutely. For quite a lot of profit, use it to sell services on top, because a lot of these companies are monopolistic, they're vertically integrated. So not only are they selling you the broadband, they're selling you the streaming service that travels over that broadband. So, right. Without these regulations, the consumer really loses.
I would think this would be the #1 way to promote net neutrality, would be to say to Republicans out there as well as Democrats, right now your internet service provider can see every single website you visit. They can tell how long you sit on that website. They can tell what you look at on that website. If you fill out a form on that website, they can see your keystrokes. Every single email you send or receive, they have the ability to read, and they can take all that information, and it's now theirs, essentially all of your personal activity, and they can sell that information to anybody they want, or they can use it against you. And I would think that would be huge.
Yeah, you said it better than I could. I think you're absolutely right. This is not only a sort of consumer protection issue, it's a privacy issue. It's also a democracy issue, right? Like, the internet is the virtual public square. It is where social justice movements start. It is where we organize. It is where we find out how to vote, where to vote, and to cede control of this platform of this public commons to the private sector that we know have not always acted in the American people's best interest is just not smart public policy. So
Yeah.
we are at Common Cause are really glad to see Chair Rosenworcel, call for net neutrality regulations. We're really hoping the October 19th meeting approves this proposal, and then we see rules in place very soon.
Yeah, I'm with you. So we're talking with Ishan Mehta, the Director of Media and Democracy at commoncause.org. Ishan, as we've been discussing this, the ability that the internet service providers have now to monitor everything you're doing online and to read all your emails and everything else and to sell that information is literally making billions of dollars for them, because they are selling that information aggressively right now. You know, these data brokers and things like this, the files that they have on all of us now are just bulging. What that means is that a lack of net neutrality, and by the way, the Trump administration blew up net neutrality with Ajit Pai, their former Verizon lobbyist who was his head of the FCC. They blew it up after I believe it was over 1 million comments against net neutrality were posted on their website. And then later, after they blew it up, it was revealed that virtually all of those were phonies, that they were from bots. But you know, that said, my understanding is that they're making billions of dollars. The Supreme Court has said it is perfectly legal for big corporations to buy their own favorite politicians, to shower money on politicians. They call it free speech now instead of bribery. And so you're going to have, Common Cause is going to have, you know, billionaires up against you, billion-dollar corporations, some of the largest corporations in America up against you in this net neutrality debate. This is a real David versus Goliath thing. What kind of chance do we have of actually getting back our damn privacy?
Well, I'm optimistic, Tom. Common Cause is a member-driven organization. We have close to 1 million members. We're very engaged. I fully plan to organize our team, our members, to be able to write to the FCC when this docket opens, when they open the comment period, and share their stories. One sort of thing we have going for us is, it's a silver lining to the pandemic that we saw how critical a resource broadband is. And I think the story strikes a lot closer to home now that folks have had to deal with multiple people on calls or classes from the same sort of router at their home, or and that's a lucky situation. So folks had to drive to McDonald's parking lots to do their homework. So I think we as a country realize how important broadband is. I think that will help more and more people realize how important net neutrality is, how important making sure those connections are private is. And so we're hoping to get folks from far and wide to write to the FCC, talk about why net neutrality is important to them.
I'm with you. And you can read all about it at commoncause.org. Ishan Mehta is the Director of Media and Democracy with Common Cause. Ishan, thanks so much for dropping by.
Thanks, Tom. Great to be here.
Truly appreciate the information. It is 14 minutes past the hour. We'll be back with more of the news of the day and your calls in just a moment.